Harry Enton says things are looking bad, historically bad for the Republicans in 2026. They're expected to lose the House in the midterms, and the number of Republican representatives that are fleeing the House is reflecting that possibility. According to Enton, this is the most House GOP retirements in nearly a century since 1930, already beating out the staggering number of GOP retirements we saw in 2018 during Trump's first term. The Democrats ran away with the House that year. What they did with it or what they didn't do with it is another story, but it looks like Trump's second term will be even more significant in terms of his loss of power.
You know, I would say that House Republicans are running for the exits faster than kids do on the final day of school. I mean, just take a look here. Oh, hello, most House retirements since 1930. So far this cycle, already 36. That is the grand record over the last nearly 100 years. My goodness gracious. That actually beats the former record in total, which was 34 back in the 2018 cycle. And that wasn't that long ago. And I do recall that was a very, very good year for House Democrats. The bottom line is this: you don't run for the exits unless you know trouble is brewing. And House Republicans so far believe trouble is absolutely brewing.
And I'm trying not to be overly optimistic here. A lot can happen between now and November. For instance, we are now in a war that our president started after campaigning on the promise of not starting a new war. There are rumors that he will try to use this new war as a justification to delay or even cancel the midterms. Personally, even if he does try to do either of those things, I don't think he'll be successful, but the fact that it's even plausible should be concerning for all of us. It wouldn't be anything new. We just keep repeating the same patterns and never learning from them. In the past, presidents have successfully, at the very least, used international conflict and weaponized fear to solidify a voting bloc. They know that nations tend to feel a sense of patriotism or even nationalism during war times. People are more likely to vote to keep whoever's in charge in their positions because the idea of changing leadership mid-war feels unnecessarily volatile. Also, as Harry Enton points out, Trump's approval rating is historically low, as it has consistently been since he's taken office. His approval rating across the board has already been lower than it was during his first term, which is almost impressive. Trump always has to win, even when he's losing, so good for him. However, one of the big reasons why so many voters are finally turning against Trump is not because of his illegal war. It's not because he's still funding and supporting Israel and their genocide of the Palestinian people. It's not because of his name turning up over 1 million times in the Epstein files, nor is it because he's already been found guilty of sexual assault. It's not because he's selling off our protected lands and parks. It's not because he lies to the American people constantly. It's not because he's tanked our job market. It's not because he has alienated, threatened, and/or attacked all of our allies. It's not because he's defunding every public program that our taxes already pay for. It's not because he's deployed his private and highly paid militia to terrorize American cities. It's not because he opened concentration camps. It's not because he filled our government with incompetent loyalists who do little more than spend our money for their own pleasure. And there's more I can list, but you guys can continue the list in the comments. It's because gas prices are high right now. And that is an incredibly fickle thing. If gas prices go back down, certain people, you know which people, will no longer feel the direct result of Trump's policies personally, so they'll stop thinking about everything else. They will stop being angry. They will stop being motivated to speak out and act out. And while gas prices are expected to stay high and climb higher, there are still things that Trump could do between now and November to soften the blow for the American people and win back some goodwill among his people. I'm just not trying to get too comfortable. There's a reason why there's always an October surprise, because people will vote based on the freshest thing in their mind and forget about everything else that led up to Election Day. It's like we've all got object impermanence, which is something we're supposed to grow out of when we are babies. But all of that said, Harry seemed very confident that something very bad is going to happen. But how does he know? What is the historical context?
What does history tell us about these types of exits?
Okay, so, I say it's brewing, and sometimes I just like to pontificate, but sometimes I actually have facts behind me. Let's take a look here. Okay, party with the fewer House retirements since 1982 in midterms. They went on to win the U.S. House 80% of the time. Far fewer Democrats are retiring this cycle than Republicans. When one side runs for the exits, right? I'm doing my best right here, my best Usain Bolt right here. When one side runs for the exits, they lose the House of Representatives. When one side stays put, it's because they think something good is going to happen. And House Democrats clearly think something is good going to happen. And House Republicans clearly think something very bad is going to happen.
Again.
Then Harry was asked what these GOP representatives could be seeing that would make them think now is probably a good time to retire. Here's how he explained the exodus.
You know, some elected officials aren't so smart, but many of them are. And they're looking at the same numbers we're looking at. And what they're looking at is the President of the United States and his approval rating. So why don't we just take a look here? Why are GOP retiring? Okay, when the president's approval is less than 50%. I went back all the way through the record books, all the way back since 1938 in midterm elections. When the House, the Press Party in the House, on average, loses 34 seats. Loses 34 seats when the president's approval rating is less than 50%. Donald Trump isn't anywhere close to 50%. He's at 40%. The average, the House for the president's party, they lose 34 seats. The least was just 9. That was actually Joe Biden back in 2022. But guess what? House Democrats only need to pick up of 1, 2, 3 in order to gain a majority. So the least, even the worst case scenario for Democrats is not anywhere close to what Republicans need to hold on to the House of Representatives. And one little last historical anecdote as I go over to the blackboard over here. The only 2 times that the president's party did not lose at least 3 seats was 1998 and 2002. You know what the president's approval rating was in those years? It was 60% plus. And Donald Trump at this point is just at a 40% approval rating, nowhere near what House Republicans need. And that is why I said they're running to the exit. John laughing over there.
The question now will be, what will the Democrats do with the new power that they're set to inherit? Anna Kasparian got into it with AOC on X recently when Anna called out AOC's voting record on Israel. Who will stand up for the will of the actual people, especially in regards to something as huge as Israel? Why do so many of our American congresspeople have signs over their office doors saying they stand with Israel? Will anything change even if Democrats win the House in November? A friend of mine was getting a stress test the other day, and the tech started talking about how bad the economy is for some reason. She told him, yeah, things are terrible. And she said, and I voted for him being Trump, obviously. Then she said, still, he's better than Kamala would have been. Again, this is in the middle of my friend's stress test, so that didn't help. And I tell you this story just to give you some perspective. Yes, the numbers look good for those of us who don't like Trump and want him out, but there are still people out there in the real world, in offices, doctors' offices, wherever, who are still unaware of what is going on with this administration, or they're unmoved by what's going on with this administration, or they support what's going on with the administration. People think about themselves, specifically about their money. That is something that has always been constant, at least in this country. The progressive ask of people to have some empathy and compassion for others is a very, very big ask. The tides are shifting, which is and should be encouraging, but forgive me for being a bit down about the fact that it's taken this long and this much to finally move the American people this much. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.